Hey fam, Master Coach G here, thriving after 50, mind, body, soul. And in this episode, I am talking about 6 steps for personal change. The thing about change is that, so here's the deal. Sometimes it's uncomfortable, you have to be able to recognize challenging the unwanted behavior. We recognize, and once you recognize the unwanted behavior, then you can apply these steps. Then we can take steps on making steps towards changing that unwanted behavior. What you have to recognize also is have to what is it that you want to change and why. Okay, that's important. And you also have to recognize is it serving you now or is it not serving you? What is it that you want to change? Those are the questions that you have to ask yourself. Understand why to recognize and identify in order to be able to apply. And how these 6 steps does that change? This is Master Coach G, and I will see. So until we can identify and understand the purpose of this behavior, change will be extremely difficult because we have to be able to recognize and understand why we want to change and what the change is. Okay, that's really important. Here's number 1. Identify why you need to change. Identifying why you need to change will help you when it starts to feeling challenging. When you start to feel like this is too much of a challenge, remember why you need to change. That will help you to stick to your commitment. Often you have to reflect back on the reasons why you need to change, and that will help you to be able to continue on the path of being able to make that change. Identifying why you need to change. That is very, very important. That is step number 1, being able to identify that, okay? Step number 2 is change only one thing at a time, okay? You know, I know that when you think about changing habits or routines, you think about the whole big picture, okay? So what I need you to do is to look at one thing at a time to develop that habit of changing that one thing before you start trying to change the whole big picture, okay? So when you're looking at changing one area of your life, stick with that one thing, especially if you're looking at reworking major parts of your current life, okay? Trying to change many things at once, honestly, it just doesn't work. It doesn't. It becomes overwhelming, and it stops you from making the changes that you need to make in your life because it's overwhelming. It seems to be too challenging. It seems to be too much. So number 2 is change one thing at a time so that you don't become overwhelmed and just throw in the towel and say, it's not working. I'm not going to do anything. Okay. The third thing is to understand how the behavior serves you or does not serve you, okay? The changes that you're trying to make, if it does in fact serve a purpose for you, then this can be difficult to kind of manage, okay? Because you're basically debating in your mind, well, you know, it works here, but it doesn't work there, okay? So you need to be able to understand if the behavior is serving you or if it's not serving you, okay? Keep in mind that helping you to be able to do this is helping you to be able to manage, okay? So that's why you want to be able to understand if the behavior is serving you or if it's not serving you. That is something that you have to be able to recognize as well. That's number 3. Number 4 is, and this is going to be a difficult one, but number 4 is to sit with the discomfort of that. Okay, this is going to help you with number 3 to be able to understand the if it's serving you or not. So when you're feeling the discomfort of change, you know, try not to run away from it so quickly, because that discomfort is giving you a bird's eye view of why. Okay, that's going to help you to, it's going to reveal the why. Okay, so if you see yourself feeling this discomfort, it's okay. It's okay to understand, to be in a place of discomfort. It's tolerable. Yes, it's going to be uncomfortable, but you have to understand that that discomfort is definitely for your good, because it's giving you a bird's eye view of why. Okay, you gotta understand the why. Okay, here's another thing that we really, really have to get through our head is we have to take baby steps. Okay, you can often break a behavior if you're trying to change it in smaller steps. Okay, you have to have obtainable goals. So let's say, for instance, that you want to start a exercise routine, and I can always talk about this very freely. So let's say you want to make changes on starting a healthier lifestyle. Well, you have to really take baby steps for that. You have to have obtainable goals. You can't say, okay, well, I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week. Okay, if you've never been able to obtain that by saying you're going to go to the gym 5 days a week, what I would recommend is start off with baby steps. Start off with walking. Go outside your door, walk 15 minutes in any direction, and come back. I would recommend that you start there. Let's say you're trying to start off with changing your eating habits, and you say, okay, well, I'm going to start because I had a bad habit of eating milk duds. That was like my thing. So what I had to do was, instead of eating 3 boxes a week, I had to say, okay, well, this week I'm going to only eat 2 boxes. And I know that may not seem like a big deal, but if you start off with small obtainable goals, it will definitely help you to be able to obtain the goal that you're trying to reach, which is a healthier lifestyle. So if you're trying to eat healthier, then I would say incorporate more fruits and vegetables. If you're not used to eating fruit, but 1 day a week, then I would say add an extra day. Start there. You don't have to start off big by changing your whole complete diet. You don't have to do that. What I want you to do is to start off slow with changing some things. If you only eat fruit once a week, then incorporate another day. Start there. Okay? And then the following week, add another day. And then the following week, add another day. That's small, obtainable goals, and it's not overwhelming. Okay? And if you can plan that every single day by starting off with small, obtainable goals, you'll find that you'll be more productive. And you will also find that your changes will become more permanent. See, what happens is if you do it like, when people, say, okay, I lost 40 pounds in 30 days. Okay. But here's what I can tell you. You won't keep the weight off. If you can lose 1 pound a week, that doesn't seem like a lot, but 1 pound a week is obtainable. 43 pounds a month is not, that's not obtainable. Yeah, you can get on medication, and yeah, you can, there's a lot of things that you can do. But if you do it in smaller increments, I can promise you that you will definitely reach your goal, because you have to do things in bite sizes. I always tell people, you know how you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You cannot eat a whole elephant at once. And when you try to say, I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week, and you ain't going at all, then honestly, do you think 5 days a week is obtainable? So if you start off by walking and you just kind of build on that, it's like walking is building the foundation, if you will. I'm just going to just kind of describe it like that. If you start walking, it's building a foundation, okay? And then you can reach your goal by going to the gym 5 days a week. Is that going to take time? Absolutely. But that's the thing about change. It does take time, if in fact you want the change to be a lifestyle change. Now, if you're just looking for something, like people will say, oh, I have this wedding to go to, or I need to get in my wedding dress, or I have an event coming up and it's a black tie affair, and I got this size 10 dress, but right now I'm in a size 14 and the event is in 3 weeks. Okay, now seriously, is that obtainable? Seriously. So that's why you have to look at obtainable goals. Okay, and here's the other thing. Don't set a time limit. Putting a time limit, and I understand that, that goes back to number 5, because most people, don't like to wait. Society has us now to the point everything is fast, 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 fast. You got fast food, you got microwave, you got air fryers, you got all this stuff that gives you quick results really fast. But is that really helpful? Okay, change doesn't happen like that. Okay, so let me give you an example. And everybody on the planet does this. Every human being does this, unless they changed it. Unless you change this habit, every person on the planet does this. Every person on this planet puts their sock on the same foot every morning. Unless you're conscious of that and you say, I want to change that habit. And that's a good place to start if you're trying to change a habit. Okay, recognize that you put your sock on the same foot every day, and recognize that you want to change that habit. Now, that may seem like a small thing, changing which foot you put your sock on. Yes, it's a small thing, but I can guarantee you it's going to take you time to develop that habit of putting it on the other foot. I can guarantee you that if you work at putting your sock on your, and most people put their sock, because I always put my sock on my right foot every single morning. So what I did was I said, let me try this. I want to do an experiment. I want to see how long it's going to take me to change the habit of putting my sock on my right foot and changing it to putting it on my left foot. It took time for me to develop that habit. I had a bad habit of sleeping on my stomach. I wanted to change the habit of sleeping on my stomach because it started creating problems in my hips, in my back, in my lower back. It started creating habits. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to change that habit. It took me 8 months to change that habit. Did I get frustrated? Yes. But I couldn't put a time limit on it because I didn't know how long it was going to take me to do that. So I had to put things in place in order to be able to change that habit. I had to get a knee pillow so I wouldn't turn on my stomach, and keep the pillow between my knees at night. And if it came out, I had to consciously wake up and put it back in between my knees, so that way I would break the habit of sleeping on my stomach. That was a habit, and it took 8 months for me to develop that habit. I couldn't rush it. Because was it frustrating? Absolutely. Did I want it to happen overnight? Absolutely. But I couldn't put a time limit on it because I didn't know how long it was going to take. Just like putting my sock on my right foot, changing it to my left foot, it took time. It took me about 90 days to be conscious of putting it on my left foot. So yes, it does take time, but we cannot put a time limit on it, because we don't really know how long it's going to take. One day you'll just say, oh, now I'm doing it. And once you discover what the unwanted behavior is, and you identify that unwanted behavior, then and only then can you work at changing it. But please, please, please understand, you cannot put a time limit on it. Some things take longer than others, but you do have to be patient, and you do have to understand that this is a process. Change is a process. Is a process. And sometimes, we can't, sit back here and be extreme and think, it's like, well, I'm going to put a time limit on it, and in 30 days I'm expecting to have this habit. No. If you put a time limit on it, then it's only going to put more pressure on you. It's only going to make things more difficult for you to be able to make the change. So if you want lasting change, then you will have to not put a time limit on it, okay? Because shifting our behavior takes time. We have to practice and practice and practice more. We have to, because it doesn't happen overnight. You have to remember that change does not happen overnight, and that it does take time, and that it is a process. So here are the 6 things that we have to remember whenever we are talking about making changes in our lives. The first thing we have to do is we have to be able to identify what it is that we want to change. That's the first thing. And then we have to change one thing at a time. We don't need to be trying to change 10 different things at once, because I can guarantee you it will become overwhelming and you will not do it. Okay? The next thing is to understand if the behavior is serving us or if it's not serving us. Okay? And sit with the discomfort of that, because it is going to be uncomfortable. But you do have to sit with the discomfort, because that's what helps you to understand your behavior. And take baby steps, and it's okay. We can't, just take, these gigantic steps and think that it's going to work. It's not. I would say practice changing the foot that you put your sock on. Just practice that. If you want to make some major changes in your life, or if you've identified something that's no longer serving you, start off with that. Get that into, because what's going to happen is it's going to make you be aware of changing and practicing the change. Take the baby steps. I guarantee you, if you take the baby steps, I can guarantee you, you will be able to make the change. And regardless of what the change is, whether it's working out, whether it's your eating habits, it doesn't matter. Here's the other thing. Don't put a time limit on it. Be patient with yourself. Understand that breaking habits does take time. It does. It takes time. And you have to practice and practice and practice in order to be able to accomplish that goal. Please understand this. It is a process. And any process takes time. I guarantee you, if you take the time and be patient with yourself, that whatever the unwanted behavior is, that if you follow these 6 steps, I can almost guarantee you that you will be able to see the change that you're looking for. It is a process. Hey, that's what I have for you today. I hope this episode has added value to your life. Thank you for joining me here on Thriving After 50, Mind, Body, Soul. But before I get out of here, I got to give a shout out to my listeners here in the United States, Canada, Australia, Russia Federation, Mexico, Belgium, Ireland, South Africa, Brazil, Nigeria, United Kingdom, Germany, France, Bangladesh, Ukraine, Kuwait, India, Hong Kong, and Dominican Republic. I want to thank you all for listening. The listener audience is growing day by day. I appreciate you all listening to this podcast today. If it has been a benefit to you, please share it with someone. Please subscribe to my channel, so every time I drop a new episode, you will be the first one to get it, even before I post it anywhere. And share this episode with somebody who is trying to make some changes in their lives. I really believe that this will be a great benefit to them. I appreciate you all so much. And please remember, knowledge applied is power. That's where your power is. When you apply the principles of what I'm sharing with you, then you will see results. This is Master Coach G, and I will see you on the next level.